I'm thinking a lot about containment at the moment. I typically resist containment in all its forms, which may be the Piscean in me, but the more I think about it, the more everything is contained in some way, except for perhaps infinity. But let's just rein it back in for a second. This all kind of started because I've been obsessively thinking about terrariums and how they contain these little worlds within them in a very similar way that rock pools do. I made a collection 5 years ago now during the first lockdown, which was all about rock pools and the idea of them as containers of tiny universes. And I've been thinking too a lot recently about the body, the vessel of the body, and how it is a container for so many things. And then the spirit or the soul and where that fits into all this, and how that to me is something that is uncontained. So I'm not really sure where all this is going. This is typically how an idea may come in for me. It'll start with thoughts that seem not to be connected, but then start to very obviously have a common thread, and ideas that won't go away, and concepts that I want to noodle on and percolate for a while. And this can go on for months at a time. It could go on in the background of my mind, or it could be something that's quite present and immediate, and the idea comes in and I just go for it. So I am thinking about this idea of containment, terrariums, rock pools, the vessel of the body. All of this is swirling around in my awareness and will at some point become something. I'm just not sure exactly what yet. So I'm going to let this first layer dry, and it will dry mostly a lot lighter than it looks wet. So while I can get a sense of what's happening, I won't know for sure until this first layer is dry. There's some really nice shapes coming along, there's a nice movement, which is why I like to start so liquidy and loose. I'll check whether I want to add some more first layers. Sometimes that does happen. It depends on how interesting they look once they're dry. And in the meantime, I can noodle on my terrarium idea. I've got some other thoughts as well, but I know that when an idea comes and won't leave me alone, there's something in it, so I need to give that a bit more time to percolate. And I'm going to go up to the house now and have a coffee. I've been wanting to visit Mên-an-Tol since I moved to Cornwall. It's believed to be a burial site from the Bronze Age, so about 3,500 years old, and is a small cluster of standing stones, including a circular stone with a hole in the middle. In fact, Mên-an-Tol, which I may be pronouncing incorrectly, means hold stone, and it's associated with healing and fertility. When we left the house, we were basking in glorious spring sunshine, but by the time we got to West Penwith, the mist was rolling in and drifting across the moor in soft, hazy pockets. I'll always choose sunshine if it's on offer, but the mist contributed an evocative atmosphere that seemed fitting for such a rugged and ancient landscape. The stones turned out to be a little smaller than I'd imagined, and although I hoped for a silent solo walk, we crossed paths with a small handful of others visiting that day, including a man with a long wizard beard and a couple with a crazy-eyed Jack Russell that Pops was not at all sure about. We roamed around in the mist for a while, soaking up the silence which felt somehow substantial. I wanted to explore more, but the mist became a fog so thick we could only see a few meters ahead. I'd also neglected to eat lunch and was feeling the call of the squash sandwich in my pocket, which I ended up eating in the van. Coming off the moors onto the coast, we emerged back into sunshine, which gave the whole experience an even more otherworldly feel. I'd like to go back in clearer weather and visit the other standing stones nearby that we didn't get to see this time. Well, I've spent half the morning trying to mix the perfect shade of shell pink that's in my brain. With some success, it's still a little dark. You can just see it there. So that's a work in progress, but I can use and dilute little bits of it as I need. I've also been sorting through some of my reference images and thinking about shapes and colours and what kind of thing I want to do. I've made some experimental marks on a couple of the boards. I'm feeling very drawn to making paintings that are subtle and suggestive and quite light in feel and in colour palette and in values. I have attempted this before and my natural way is to be much more bold in my values. So we'll see how it pans out, but making a nice soft start. don't know how well this is going to come out on the video. It's very subtle, but I've just been playing with this idea of containment that I was talking about before. And something, I want it to be subtle. I want it to be suggestion rather than this is a bottle or this is a vessel of some kind. And I just put some very diluted paint. And because I don't prime the panels, it sinks in this just gorgeous way. And I'm just playing with the idea of shapes, beach shapes, I guess we'll call them, sea shapes. I don't want to say I'm putting shells in it because that's too literal. It's got to be hints, it's got to be suggestions. I find this very challenging. I want to make things literal. I'm basically fighting myself at every step. But I know the vision now, and so it's just a matter of translating that into physical elements with paint and wood panels and crayons and whatever else I want to bring in. Nearly ready. Should we see if it's ready? Still a tiny bit hot, darling. I'm going to give it a few more minutes in the freezer, okay? A few more minutes. I know. You're very patient. Should we try again? Should be cold enough now. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, where's your place?